And hello. Hello, we should be live. Should be live with our AMA today. And just to double check in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or Discord, give us a thumbs up if you see us and you can hear us. Well, Sean, you're here with us already. Yeah. you too, Cedric. I mean, I hope you can see me. Okay, we're all good. There we go. I saw a thumbs up from Jack. Wonderful. All right, Sean. Can't hear Sean. Well, that's interesting. Oh. Please hold. I can't hear Sean. All right. I see. Oh, let me take a look here. Can you guys can hear me and you can hear Cedric too. All right. All right. Oh, crap, I did it again. I think it's my problem. I think I have made a mistake here in I am sharing. All right, everyone, just please hold. Yeah, seriously. Please hold as we figure. Do you all hear music? Yeah, I like that, Sean. Yeah, just so you all know, we are super smooth and professional. So you can hear the music, but you can't hear us. Very interesting. And Alex, yes, that's what I'm doing, Alex. No music. Okay. And what's interesting is for some reason. Okay, that's really weird. Here, we'll do it this way. Go ahead and talk, guys. Okay, well, for some interesting reason, your audio. Oh wait, I think I know what it is. I will have this fixed in a moment. Everybody, just please bear with me. Try that. How about now, guys? Can you talk for me? I don't think they do. Okay, I swear we're almost there. I think I see what's going on here now. Yeah, how about this? Aha! Now talk for me. Can you guys hear Cedric? Yay! All right. Sorry. That's what happens when we're configured for a workshop and then we do something different. And I needed to make a change. Let's see. So I can hear you. Nope, that says nope. Only music. What is going on with this? Oh, what just happened there? Okay, my Zoom, everything just muted completely. Yes. All right. Well, we're having some technical difficulties right now at the moment, and yes, I am double appeared, even though all of that should be turned off, which is very interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna change. All right, here, Alex is coming on to help. Hey, Alex. Let's see. I am sharing my screen, but let me do it in here. All right, we appreciate you all just bearing with us as we fix this particular issue. All right, let me. Yep, I'm working on it. You need my other screen. Yes, that's. You don't see those because the second I share, those go away. You can't see those settings, but I can share my OBS with you. Here we go. So all of you are seeing the fourth wall now as we share inside what's going on here. Okay. Where? In Zoom itself? Okay, can you see my screen? You see what I'm doing? You don't see that. I'm streaming the Slido, but I'm sharing the screen to you guys. And you're not seeing it, oddly enough. Oh, because it's not... Okay, it's not showing that to you. That's all. Honestly, Alex, if I share in Zoom, you don't see it. It seems like when I share my screen, you're not seeing my Zoom settings. Yeah, sharing that screen's not going to help. No, I cannot share the display, Alex. It doesn't have the option to share display. I can share applications, or I can... Yes, that's what I was sharing originally. I don't know why you're not seeing it. Yep, right here. And no, yep, that's I had that one. The Zoom audio one that was there a second ago. This one right here. I have no idea. All right, just bear with us, everybody, as we get through this. We really appreciate you sticking with us here. I cannot. Oh, here, you want this. Okay.
Zoom sounds, so sound from me must be going to OBS now. So if you can hear me,
I do see
please...
the levels in OBS. Can you let us know if you hear him? Do you hear Alex talking?
If you hear me, please set the thumbs up in the YouTube chat.
Oh, me.
I can hear
Alex. All right, yeah, and I see the levels kicking in OBS.
Yeah, and ours will be fine as well, sure.
All right, I think that was it. Let's go ahead and...
Okay, I'm jumping out. Have fun.
Oh, you can stay.
Yeah,
Oh,
right. Why don't you stay, Alex? All right, do you guys hear Alex? Woo! Do we hear Cedric? Cedric, talk for me.
Clap, Alex, clap, clap.
All righty. Jeez, wow. We are so appreciative of all of you sticking around while we struggled through that. Apparently, my settings were off, so thank you so much for doing that. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to it. If you guys can all hear everybody, let's get to it. Now, Sean, you're muted, bud. You're muted in Zoom.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't do it this time.
Second attempt. How about now?
Sounds okay.
Okay, so just in case anybody was wondering, we went the old school Microsoft route. We rebooted, right? That solved all our problems.
Right. What is going on here? Okay, hold on. Sorry, Sean. It all got muted. Something keeps muting Zoom, and I don't know why. Yeah, it just totally flattened out. I have no idea what's going on with this. All right, let's see what is going on with Zoom today. The first time it was my fault. We are definitely having some technical difficulties with this. And yes, I don't know what has changed or why. Yep, it's the same. I've got it set to the system sound. Nothing changed. Cedric and Sean, can you talk?
1, 2, 3,
Yep.
4.
Okay.
6, 5,
Okay.
6.
Yeah, there we go. We're back again.
Checking.
Yep, it's all good. I don't know what happened. All right. All right, go on.
Yes, they did. They did. Okay.
Okay.
Attempt number 3. Hopefully,
See,
the
Alex
final
back.
attempt.
We're back online.
All right. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. We're glad you stuck around during our 11-minute Royal Rumble with technology. You know, it always sets the tone for a positive experience. But what we're here to do today is to have an AMA for all the participants in the hackathon. So we came up with a holiday hackathon to really try to give back to the developer community and give you guys the chance to earn some money. Whether you are male, female, or non-binary, we don't care. If you can build something cool, we want you to be part of our group. That's what we're here to do. Now, we also have a lot of experts in the Cassandra world, in the developer world, that are here to help everybody answer all the questions that we have. Jack actually shared a link to Slido. It is the best way to ask questions. You can also look at the current questions and upvote them if you would like to give them higher priority. And we will be going through all of these questions as they come up. We're going to try to help everybody give you as much advice and information as possible. But if you have any follow-up questions for us, we also have a Discord channel, which I would recommend you join. We're always on there because we are globally distributed, so there's always somebody from DataStax available at some point of the day. All right, so that being said, I'd like to introduce our fellow developer advocates, the gentlemen who are below me on the screen. They're the ones who usually run our workshops and all of our really cool stuff where we can learn, right? Our learning series, but we want to make sure that you guys have access. We also have some other people in the chat, Jack, Alex, Patrick, and if I've forgotten anybody else, please, David Chung, sorry.
Yeah,
we have all of them there as well, and we'll all be here to help everybody. All right, David G, would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
Hello, yes, I'm David Jones-Gilardi, and as Sean just mentioned, I'm one of the developer advocates on the team. So for those of you who have ever attended one of our workshops, there's a good chance that you've probably seen me or Cedric or Alex or someone on there. So we are the folks that are usually behind creating the content for the workshops, trying to get as much knowledge out there about Cassandra, Astra, and Stargate and such as possible. So yeah, hello everybody, and I'll stop there.
Cool.
And I'm Cedric Lunven. I'm leading the advocate team. As David, you probably have seen me a lot on workshop or any content we are providing to the channel. So happy to be here and answer the question we can over here.
Excellent. All right. So the first question that we have been asked a lot, and you can see it, it's got 3 votes on our screen. What is Astra? So a lot of people who are brand new to the Cassandra world, they're often asking, so what's the point of Astra? Is that like a DataStax thing? I'm going to answer that with a yes/no situation. DataStax Astra is Cassandra as a service. Okay, so that's what we've created. It's meant to help alleviate the high step-in that Cassandra used to have, where you had to do all this configuration and you had to work so hard to get it set up. Now, using DataStax Astra, aka Cassandra as a service, you can literally start your deployment within 5 minutes. Probably less if you have a fast connection, but within 5 minutes, you can actually have a cluster up and running, and you can start using it immediately. So David G or Cedric, do you guys have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I'll just add a couple things there. You know, especially Astra was really kind of developed not only, but with the developer in mind. So, you know, as kind of Sean was just talking about a moment ago, the ability to be able to spin up a database, and not just any database, Cassandra. We're talking Apache Cassandra, right? This is a database that is known for its scalability and robustness and everything. And to be able to spin one of these up as a developer in just a couple minutes and get going, whether you're talking like something you're going to experiment with on the free tier, which is free forever, or something that is a real production database, right, that you're using for your real actual production loads, To be able to do that and have a database like this that is completely managed for you is huge, right? Because I can spin it up as a dev, I can just hook it up and go, right? So that's pretty big, especially whether you're an organization or a single dev or someone who maybe doesn't have an IT staff or doesn't have the expertise to run Cassandra or whatever. It really kind of sets you up so you can kind of get moving real fast.
Yes, and on top of this Cassandra database, as a managed service, you do have two sets of APIs, so REST API, GraphQL API, and the purpose of the hackathon is really to make those APIs shines. So it used to be only drivers to connect to Cassandra with multiple languages, Java, Node, C#. But now, it's easier to just interact with the database using a REST API and more recent technologies.
And something to even add, right? For those of you who are already familiar with Apache Cassandra and how it works and how to use it, right? You're used to having to require, to have a schema, create your data model, your tables and everything. But with Astra, there is the ability with the document API to just create schemaless documents, just boom and go, right? It's an extremely simple API, and what's really neat, matter of fact, I guess we could show it just for a moment because I happen to have Astra up, haha. We saw some of the questions coming in. But if you have a database and you go to the Connect tab, you'll see that there are all these different APIs and language variants that you can take a look at. What's really cool is this is set up in such a way, so here's the document API, where you just follow the instructions. You can just copy the stuff right out here. I could just do this right in my terminal. And within a couple of commands, I can now start interacting with it, right over HTTP and such. I don't need to actually use the drivers and stuff if I don't want to. It's the same thing if you're talking GraphQL, if you're talking REST. So it makes it extremely easy to kind of get up and going, even if you don't, or if you're not familiar with how to code with drivers or whatever, there are other options there for you.
Yeah, I think it make the screen bigger.
I should make it bigger. That's true.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, all about API.
Yeah, you can definitely take my face, make it smaller.
Yeah, it doesn't care if we are just small on screen. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So let's go on to the next question. It's another very common question that we have, and that is going to be, can we postpone the deadline? The short and sweet answer is going to be no. Unfortunately, we cannot. The main reason why is because we've been running this for 25 days already, and we also need time to actually evaluate all the submissions and choose the winners, because we need to give you guys your money, right? The people who are going to win need to get their prizes, and we need to be able to get that to you in a reasonable time. We don't want to wait until next Christmas to give you your prize money, right? So unfortunately, we cannot extend this current deadline, but there will be future events where you will get a chance to join us again. I can't guarantee that the prize money is going to be the same size as we are doing now, but we're going to make sure that you have a good time, you learn something valuable, and that, you can actually jump on the train to make yourself famous. That's what we're going to do. We're here to make you famous, okay? So unfortunately, the short answer is no, we cannot postpone the deadline. But if there's something you want to work on, a project you want to work on, if you want to just continue working on something that you've submitted, you have the owner rights. We do not take any of your stuff and own it. We're here to promote it and make sure you guys get the proper attention. So that's the short answer, or the long-winded answer for can I extend? No.
And another thing to kind of point out for the future, for if we we go to do these hackathons again in the future, right? Great place to find out is our YouTube channel, right? If you go and subscribe and you ring the bell on there, you'll get notifications anytime something like this shows up. You'll see them there. Also, our Eventbrite. Maybe Jack can pop in the Eventbrite link as well into the chats, because the Eventbrite, that's going to be like the one-stop shop for all of the events coming up. So then in the future, if we have another hackathon like this, you should see it pop right up.
Exactly.
All right.
That's actually excellent. So for those of you who are participating in the event, keeping track of the developer advocate team is always a good situation. And as David was just explaining, they always do some really cool stuff. They're always trying to find new ways to interact with Astra and APIs and teaching people how to use Kubernetes or Cassandra and stuff like that. So there's really a lot of fun topics to learn from. So I definitely would recommend keeping an eye on that and just subscribing. It's all free. Oh. All right, so we have a question saying we are facing a particularly difficult indexing in some fields. We're using the GraphQL API for all tasks. Can you put some focus in that area? So go ahead.
No, just for this question, we really need to reach out to the engineering team. So the team putting in place the GraphQL API is available on the Discord. So the Stargate Discord. Those guys implement the API, and it should be the best way to interact with them. So I will drop you the link. I think we cannot discuss in long form exactly what the indexing issue you might have, but provide you the link in the chat for this Stargate Discord, and you can reach out to the developers.
Okay, great answer. All right, so the next question is, what is an efficient way to scale up an extra Cassandra node? The comment afterwards says, I couldn't see there's a proper solution yet in the Cassandra community. When you ask that question, do you mean an extra Cassandra node in DataStax Astra, or just adding a Cassandra node to your deployment, regardless of which variant of Cassandra that you're using?
And I actually read that too, like vertically scale an existing node, like scale up. Well, it does say an extra Cassandra node. Yeah, are you adding one in or what? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just a question, because for Astra, when we're using Cassandra as a service, it's not very easy to scale up an extra node compared to an on-prem or even a cloud deployment that you have configured yourself. So that's why it might be good to just give us a little bit of extra information as to what exactly that you want here. And we'll circle back to that question because it's a great question. We just want to make sure we answer it correctly.
Yep. Agreed.
Just as a matter of fact, you tend to scale out Cassandra.
Right.
You know that you need more capacity or throughput and not really scale up because you need all the Cassandra nodes to have the same CPU, RAM, and disk. And because you want to have balance in your nodes, this is maybe what you see most of the time scale out and now scale up.
That's actually great, Cedric. You are completely correct. All right, so we'll circle back to that. If the person or persons who voted on this could put some extra information in the chat, we'll circle back to make sure that we answer correctly. Okay. All right, so the next one, can we submit any kind of web app for this hackathon that I am interested to build? The short and curly answer is yes, absolutely. Build whatever you want, however you want it. The only rule that we have for the hackathon is you must feature DataStax Astra as the foundational piece of your project, okay? So if you build anything that you want, but you leverage the power of DataStax Astra to enhance whatever it is that you're building, double thumbs up, and that's exactly what we want. There is no one type of project. It's open innovation. That's why whether you're a front-end developer, a back-end developer, full stack, doesn't matter. Whatever you want, as long as you use Astra, we're all good. Okay. Does a deployed web app get extra points compared to one running on localhost? That's a difficult question. So the way that we're trying to look at every submission is we have 4 criteria that are going to be part of the evaluation process. 1, the best usage of Astra. All right. The second one is innovation. If you're going to be building stuff that everybody else is building, that's not being innovative, right? If you're just copy pasting something that somebody else has already done, that's not innovation. So we're trying to see like, hey, just build whatever it is that you want, your idea, build it out. The other one is the quality of your submission and your code, right? Somebody who submits just a title, but doesn't submit any GitHub code or a presentation or a video or anything to explain anything, not so much. But somebody who does take the time to give us like a 5 sentences, what is the application, a little 10-slide presentation as to how it works, and maybe even a little video as to showcase how it works, those would get a higher consideration because it's part of our judging criteria. And that's why we want to make sure that everybody is aware of that. And the 4th and final piece is what is going to be the community impact. So does that mean that your idea has to be community impactful? No, it does not. but we're trying to make sure that we give you a chance to build something that people will want to use, expand on, build on, to give you the chance to build your network out the way you want it, right? So that's the reason why we say community impact. And by community, we don't mean society, we mean the developer community, right? If you make a big splash in developer community, that's going to give you mega points. So hopefully that gives everybody an answer that your hosting location does not give you any extra points. Okay. All right. Is one of the social impact. So that's why I was saying we say community impact, not social impact. That's specifically why I brought that up, right? Because it's about the developer community. We're not talking about the world. We can't save the world, right? We're individual people. We don't have the power to save the world. But what we can do is make an impact to our peers. And that's what we're trying to achieve, right? We want to see like, hey, when you submit something really awesome, during the event, right, during the awards event, we're going to actually allow people in the audience to vote on what they think is the coolest, what they think is the most awesome thing, the most innovative. You guys get to be involved in that process. Now, the prizes 1 through 250, they're going to be judged by DataStax experts, but all the other interactive prize categories are up to you guys, the community, to choose. That's what we mean by community impact. This is developer community. Okay? All right.
All righty.
So now I'm going to ask one of our colleagues in the call, what is the advantage of Cassandra over other NoSQL databases? Because that is a controversial topic that our developer advocates probably could answer better than I can.
Yeah. Let's see. Your time, David, and I will take over as you wish.
Oh, really? You want to do it that way? You want to do it that way? I thought I was going to let you go first on that one.
So,
I know you're so opinionated here, Cedric.
I am. So this is why I want to go first.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, now, so first, there is a lot of NoSQL database flavors. So you might have heard about a document database, graph database, key value, even new SQL database or column-oriented database. And each time, it's not about what is better, what is not better. Is first, they are all distributed systems. And in a distributed system, you cannot ensure consistency, availability, and network partitioning. This is the CAP theorem. And any single of this distributed database chose 2 over the 3, because you cannot have the 3. And so you can choose consistency and partition tolerance, or you can choose availability. So first, based on the use case, you would rather have consistency or availability, then you need to change a first range of database. Then, what do you want to store? Storing in Cassandra is table-oriented. Strengths are really high throughput, high capacity, it's scaled linearly. So this is why you find some use case like IoT, because you're writing a lot of data at a super high rate, and you want to store petabyte of data. And also Cassandra have replication data available in multiple nodes across the world. You save the data once and Cassandra replicated all over the place. And this is why big web giants like Apple use like thousands and thousands of Cassandra nodes to store every data starting with the I on the Cassandra. But Cassandra is a column-oriented database, so it's cool for the use case I told you, but for the scale, for other use cases, do not really fit. Key value database may be fastest for just using cache. Storing schema-less stuff may be more appealing for some usage. It's just each database has its own data storage, its own strengths and weakness. But it's not fair to compare one NoSQL against another. It's all about the use cases.
Yeah, and I would rather talk about the things that Cassandra does really well. To Cedric's point there, for one, the scale out piece of it. I mean, you can essentially scale a Cassandra database indefinitely, right? And you see examples, real world production examples of this. Is Cedric was alluding to some of these. If you look at some of the big players, Apple's one, Sony PlayStation is another one, Netflix is huge. There are plenty of others like that. I mean, there are some huge Cassandra clusters out there, and the reason why is because as your data grows and as you want, you know, if you have particular SLAs in your throughput and you want to be able to stay to those, we're talking like, you know, tight millisecond, you know, double digit or single digit millisecond response times and stuff. You can continue to scale out Cassandra indefinitely to meet that, and there really aren't many others that can, right? But as Cedric alluded to, it's not just saying, well, Cassandra is just better because, but it's different. It's meant for a different thing, right? Also, the robustness piece. Cassandra is seriously robust. It was built to handle failures. So you can lose in certain configurations up to 2/3 of your database, still be available, still facilitate requests. You can lose whole data centers and stuff, and the thing still works, right? It's pretty darn bulletproof. So that's another piece that, again, it's really more focusing on what Cassandra does really well as compared to saying, well, this other NoSQL database doesn't do it or something. But yeah, definitely when it comes to scalability and robustness, and that all of that ties into what Cedric was talking about with the replication, the inherent replication, that ease of being able to replicate data globally across your data centers is really slick. So I think there's just so many advantages on its own merits. It's not so much of a comparison to the others.
Exactly. I think that's a great way to put it, you guys. Because we never want to put down other technology, right? Other technologies, they have the use cases where they'll beat anybody. You know, things happen. All right. Let me just answer Rohan's specific question real quick, because I've saw it pop up a couple of times. So the answer is no, you will never be scored negatively. Regardless of what you do, there is no negative score. So there's no minuses to anything, okay? Now, that being said, whatever way you want to connect to your Astra database doesn't matter. Whether you want to use a driver, whether you want to use an API, it's up to you. There is no limitation. It's all just about use DataStax Astra, aka Cassandra as a service, in your submission, and that's all we want. How you connect to it, that's up to you guys. That's why it's open innovation. Be confident that however you connect, that's okay. As long as you do something cool with that connection, we are all good to go. All right. So that scale up the Cassandra node actually has the follow-up, right? We can see there regarding the scaling. Let's say
here it is.
There you go. It's the 4-node situation. So we have some good news, bad news about that follow-up. Here is the good news, bad news situation. 3 terabytes on your nodes is too much. It's way beyond what we recommend, what any Cassandra expert recommends, right? If you look at the generalized advisory, we say get a 4 terabyte disk, and what is the unwritten rule for all Cassandra deployments? Never exceed more than 50% disk space, right? And the reason for that is due to the anti-entropy operations and some of the other headroom operations that we need to do to keep everything working. So we're already exceeding what the recommendations are. Now, the second part is you wanted to add a 5th node to your cluster, and it's been in a state of join for the past 7 days. Now, that indicates that there are possibly a couple of different things going on. One, during the joining, has it gotten stuck in the transitioning data over to that node? Number 2, is it stuck in the contacting the seed node phase? There's a lot of things that are going on right there. But this is a great question to take offline, well, not offline, but take out of this AMA and into our Discord channel. So if you want to get some help and really just talk to us about it, you know, let's do that on Discord. We're always there for you. Okay, so we're not going to leave you hanging in the lurch, but this is a situation that doesn't really apply to the hackathon. So we're going to move that to a different platform. But I do like these questions. They're excellent. Keep them going, because we would love to help you be successful moving forward.
Matter of fact, for that person, Sean, is there someone, is that you? Is there someone they should kind of reach out to have a further discussion, or community itself maybe?
Community would be a good one. Yeah, if you can ask me or ask me specifically on Discord, then I will make sure to follow up and to get it going properly. I want to make sure that this gets answered properly, because we want to make sure that everybody using Cassandra is set up for success. All right. So the next question, can we build a common use case using Astra to demonstrate how easy it is to build it using Astra, and will it be effective? If you're going to be using a common use case or one of our examples, yeah, you could have it up and running. You could actually have an application up within, I believe it is an hour. Our developer advocate group has a couple of really cool workshops where within 1 hour, you'll have your Astra up, your application up. You can actually run queries and everything. So can you do it really easily? Yes. Now, in terms of the hackathon, will common use cases or just regurgitating our examples give you a leg up? No. Innovation is key, right? That's what we want to be. The more innovation you show in your submission, the better it is for your case. Does that make sense? I hope to everybody.
It does.
Yeah. I was looking online to see if anyone responded to it, but
yeah, that's why I just wanted to give them the chance, both Discord and in YouTube. All right. The next question, can you guys explain Cassandra in layman's terms? I'm going to defer to our developer advocates because I'm sure you guys get asked this almost every single day.
Yeah, funny enough, God, how long ago was it now, Cedric? There was somebody out there, I'm trying to remember what the site was, and like one of the developer sites that said, explain Cassandra to me like you're talking to a 5-year-old, right? I don't think we ever got to that particular challenge, but Cassandra is a database like any other database, right? It's a place where you're going to store your data. The key thing about Cassandra is speed at scale, performance at scale, and robustness. So if you are going to compare against like a relational database, like an Oracle or a MySQL or something like that, I would say the biggest difference there, because they're both required schema, unless you're talking about the document API, but generally it's both required schema. It's both a tabular format that's going to look very familiar, the way that you store things in rows and such. But the big difference is the ability for Cassandra to horizontally scale out indefinitely and to be extremely robust, right? So I think those are kind of differentiators there. That went a little past layman's terms because I said more than I meant to. But yeah, I would say the big things there are it's a database that is extremely robust that can continue to keep very, very tight, SLAs, response times, regardless of the scale.
Yeah, I would simply say if you do have a very small data to manipulate and you're familiar with MySQL or any relational database, at a point of time, the server is too small. You cannot fit everything on a single machine. You need to have multiple machines. And now you need another kind of database that could add machine as much as you need and keep going with scaling out.
Exactly. I like that. Cool. All right. The next, Rohan, does it matter if my schema is suboptimal or even horrible? In my defense, I'm new to Cassandra. I would say, how horrible are you talking? Like, are you just saying like schema?
As long as you provide a workflows,
If you take a 200 column table out of your relational database and just slap it into Cassandra.
Do we filter everything with auto filtering in the project?
Exactly. So you, let's put it this way. I'm not going to penalize you for not having it perfect, right? But your quality of code and your quality of submission is one of the criteria. So if it's like truly horrendous, it might not get you any points, but it won't get you any negative points, if that helps.
Sean, is the document API okay to use for the hackathon?
Yes.
There you go.
Stargate is fully available.
So one way, Rohan, you might want to approach this, right, is to just use the document API. Now, depending on the use case, it might not actually fit, but the document API will allow you to just store schemaless documents, right? Like a JSON blobber, you can just store it. You can just go, here's my data, right? Now, again, that may not fit for what your application's actually doing. It might actually be more proper to use a proper data model, just like you would in a relational database, but the option's there, and Sean did just say that you could totally do that. So something to take a look at.
Exactly. Thank you for promoting that. So in case you guys are looking for our APIs or, you know, the things that we're talking about Stargate, stargate.io. It's in the help links for the hackathon, but stargate.io is basically the project that we've been mentioning, right? What the different kinds of APIs that we're bringing to Cassandra. And it is absolutely a must stop if you're interested in using REST API, GraphQL, Document API, right? This is where you want to go, because otherwise you are going to have to go to the drivers,
right?
And the drivers itself bring you back to the old school way of doing things. So we're really trying to make it easy for you that you can use your API, use your preferred method, and be successful. That's what we're trying to achieve.
And to be clear, Stargate is actually its own open source project, right? It is actually separate from Cassandra. It's separate from Astra. It just so happens that we have is part of DataStax, like kind of pushing, like getting Stargate out there and opening that up to the world, that has been implemented along with Astra. That's why you have the Document API, the GraphQL API, and the REST API here in Astra. So we're essentially kind of giving you the keys to Stargate right off in Astra right off the bat. Now, I believe, though, Stargate does, I mean, that works with open source Cassandra, right? I don't think that everything has made it into the open source Cassandra build just yet. But it's coming, right? That's the goal, is to get that there. So so if you want to be able to the quickest path to get to the APIs that Sean was just talking about in Stargate is to go through Astra, because they're already being implemented for you.
Exactly. Excellent. I love that addition. Cool. Could you switch back to the questions?
Yeah. You see
Thank you. Okay. Yes. So when we say best use of Cassandra, what strengths do you want us to highlight in our solutions? So we're trying to showcase the best usage of Astra specifically, right? Cassandra as a service. So not just, not an on-prem or a cloud deployment or a hybrid deployment. It is specifically for the best usage of Astra. Now, we've kind of hinted on some of the strengths of Astra, right? Our usage of different APIs that you can run. Cassandra itself is strong, right? We've touched on what Cassandra can bring to the table. So what we really want you to do is, when you're thinking about your project, is try to think about what you would need to make the biggest impact, right? And for this day and age, we are a reward now type of society.
Yeah.
Waiting is not an option. Downtime is not an option, right? You have to be able to scale out immediately. And if people are waiting more than 2 seconds on your dedicated application for the data to show up, they're going to go to the competitor. They're going to be like, yeah, forget this, I'm out. It's not for me. So when we say best usage of Astra, we say try to use Astra as a tool to make your app special, and then leverage the strengths of what Astra brings to the table to really enhance your application. So that's kind of the symbiotic relationship that we're looking for.
Okay.
All right. By what date will the results be announced? Shardul, good to see you. I recognize the name. You're one of our very active participants. Glad that you're here. So as soon as the submissions are in, depending on the sheer volume of submissions, it could be pretty quickly. But what we're trying to do is, this weekend is going to be the final submission weekend. And on Monday, I'm going to send out an email to all the people who have registered and submitted their projects on our timeline, because we're going to set up a live award show where we are going to hand out the awards that we choose, but we're also going to let the participants and the people who are going to be a part of that be voting on the winners themselves to make sure everything goes well. And a lot of people have asked, when is the deadline? It's January the 18th. That is the deadline, January the 18th, 2:55 a.m. EDT. It states at the top of the hackathon webpage exactly when that is going to happen. So I'll put that in here again, just in case you want to know.
You know, I'm looking at the time and I think maybe we are chatty and we do have a lot of questions. So let's go through the question and, stay sharp on answer, just to cover as much as we can. Just the three of us.
Yep.
Maybe we can make the session last longer, of course, but it would be better if we cover more and more people would be happy.
Exactly. Cool. All right, guys, what is cloud native?
Okay, especially for this one, you can go to datastax.com/cloud-native, but simply put, TLDR, this is really building an application in a way that will leverage on what makes the cloud so cool. So scalability, flexibility, resilience, and so containerization, Kubernetes are keywords we find in those worlds, but this is not the only way to be cloud native. You want your app to be resilient, with no single point of failure, have some observability, so monitoring, stuff like that. So the more keywords you can implement, the better.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I dropped the link to this if you want to take a look at all the stuff, and it kind of explains it all. So the link is there in the YouTube and the Discord chats.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. All right. Questions again? All right. So that's Cloud Node. So what am I supposed to create for the event? We've tried to give you guys some guideline and try to help make this clear for you. Basically, it's open innovation. What we're trying to get you to do is build something that motivates you, something that you find important, something that you find interesting, something you think the world could use, and make sure that you use DataStax Astra as the foundation for that. That's what you're supposed to create. Everything else is completely open innovation, because we are trying to motivate you to be creative. We're trying to motivate you to build new stuff and not regurgitate old stuff. It's not about, can I build something? It's about, what can I build, right? And there is no limitation on what you can use Cassandra for. So that's why we're trying to say, like, hey, go nuts, do something cool, and we'll help promote everything that you do. Next question is where to, oh, sorry, it changed. If you clear cookies, can you upvote a question?
That's what made me laugh. That's why I was laughing. You know, you could test that out by clearing cookies and trying to upvote the question like 20 times or something, but I don't know, honestly.
we always have hackers over here. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. All right. So Shardul, the question that you have, if two or more teams are working on a similar idea, will be scored negatively? No, there is no negative scoring in the event. You will never get any negative scoring on you. Now, if you have two teams that are inadvertently creating a similar project, of course, there is a chance that you might get compared to see which one is best, but there's also the situation that, hey, both projects or multiple projects might all be viable, and they might all fall into the category of potential prize winners. So we're not looking for everybody has to make their own thing. And if somebody claims, oh, I got cloud native, that only one team can do cloud native, right? So don't feel like you're limited by anything in that terms. And there is no negative scoring in any way, shape, or form. All right.
Okay.
Two or more team, or sorry, is Stargate useful for deploying a web app?
I'm sorry. Did I kill the question that you were trying to answer? The two or more teams
I think
one?
I answered
I
it.
thought you did. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. So you guys, would you, the developer advocate group, would you guys say Stargate is useful for deploying a web app?
Stargate is what we call a data gateway. It's kind of a proxy on top of Cassandra. So it's just providing you a new way to interact with Cassandra or other database, to be honest. So it's not a runtime for you to host your web app. So it's easy to develop the app, not to deploy it.
Yeah, I would say that, yeah, exactly. The Stargate's giving you extra APIs, really, right? It's giving you different interfaces into Cassandra. So I don't think it matters on the kind of app or not, right? I think that's totally a side of what Stargate's doing for you. It really is just giving you more ways to store and retrieve your data.
Yeah, I think that's the best explanation. Cool. So what is Cassandra?
Let's see. It's
yeah. This one is, yeah, it's pretty open, right? So yeah, we do have a lot of content regarding Cassandra. So Cassandra is a NoSQL distributed database. We store data as tables. Now, if you want to make that sharp, and we cover already multiple questions on Cassandra in the beginning of this session.
Agreed. So a couple of people are asking some questions that can all be answered with a simple display. David, I just sent you the link to the actual hackathon. Could you pull up the hackathon just so we can show people how to navigate, because there's a couple of different sections that will actually answer a whole bunch of information or a whole bunch of questions in one quick swoop.
Yes. The answer is yes. I can totally load that because you asked only. If Cedric would have asked me, I wouldn't have done it.
Emmanuel, that is allowed. No problem. All right. So the hackathon or event page is datastaxastra.hackerearth.com. From there, you will land on this landing page, and here's where you get like the little overview of what it is that we're trying to achieve. But on the left, you guys can see, everybody, not guys, everybody can see a list of navigation options. You can see an overview, what the theme is, what the prizes are, the rules, the teams, FAQs, submission guidelines, starter kit. Everything is in there for you. You can even ask direct questions. I am monitoring that in the discussion area as well. But you can also be on Discord or here on YouTube with us, and we'd be more than happy to help you here as well. However, the whole point of everything is we want to keep everything together. But if anything is not clear on the webpage, please reach to us. In terms of rules, the theme, the prizing, all of that, you can find all of that information on the actual website. So just in case you forgot it, please go there and you can find anything that you need. Cool. Okay. All right. Now, the next question was actually really interesting, and I have no way how to answer that. How can I connect Astra to Django backend framework? Could you guys help this person out?
Oh, so yes, the answer is yes, because on datastax.com/dev, there are some resources to implement some scenario how to build X, Y, and Z. And there is actually a scenario how to build a Django backend on top of Cassandra. It's written, it's there.
Do you remember where it is, Cedric?
Try it out. Let's say on top.
On top, on the very top. Ah.
Yeah, on the very bottom of this page, there's something called try it out. Yes, and I think over there, below, just below, not this guy, but just below Cassandra Query Language. Here you go. And see the last, okay? Create a Python driver. And I think if you go to start coding Python driver, after that, you do have a Django. But you know what? Keep going with another question. I will give you the link to the
Django. Yeah, and then we'll drop it in directly. Okay.
Excellent. So we got you covered, sir. Or I didn't know who answered. I thought it was part. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The Weird Developer. Love the name, by the way. Let's just be upfront about that.
Oh, that's
probably
great.
The coolest hacker name I've seen so far. So that's awesome. Are there any open positions at DataStax? Absolutely. We are hiring. Please contact us outside of this event because it has nothing to do with the hackathon. Therefore, it is not relevant for us right now. Please just contact us. But yes, we are definitely hiring 100%.
Yeah, and if you go to the Explore Roles, I just dropped these links, the careers page, into both chats. If you go to Explore Roles, you will see what's there. And we are mostly a remote company, right? That's not like that in 100% of the cases, but it will list if it's remote or not, right? So yeah, take a look, see what's available.
Exactly. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. We are open for chats anytime. So the list of prizes, as I mentioned, we just showed that it's on the actual page of the hackathon. The link is in the chat. Cedric had a funny little conversation, like what is a key space? Just because Cedric is the only one who said it and there was no upvoting, I'm going to ignore that because we're running out of time.
It's just a meme between us.
Exactly. And so the next question is, like, can you give me some examples of cloud native? So on the actual hackathon website, right, you have the Astra Starter Kit section. And in the Astra Starter Kit, thank you, the third one from the bottom on the left, there's actually two links in there. One is directly to our examples, and one is to our sample apps documentation. In there, you could find some really good and proper examples of what is cloud native and how can you use it to your advantage. The other aspect, or the other option that you can do, is our developer advocates. They do these workshops all the time, like almost one a week or two a week sometimes, and they provide GitHub code, and they provide you with potential options to play with, and they guide you through the steps of how to use cloud native deployments. So if you want to look at anything specifically, I recommend going through our examples and to the developer advocate GitHub right there. The DataStax Academy GitHub. It's excellent. It is definitely the place you want to be.
Yeah, I'm dropping those links as well. And if you take a look here in the DataStax Academy org, you'll see a whole set of these workshops that we've created in the past. I think some good examples are probably what you're looking for. And Cedric, you can obviously jump in here. Like the CRUD with Python and Node, the Spring Data Cassandra, Spring Reactive, right? You'll see all these examples of cloud native apps. And if you haven't been to one of our workshops before, all of these are designed to be self-service, right? So if you were to click on one of these and take a look at it, you'll see that all the instructions you need to run and go and stuff are here. Most of them use Gitpod. If you're not familiar with that, it is a cloud-based online IDE that will just spawn right out of the GitHub repository and just launch everything you need to get going and such. So Sean said, yeah, totally take a look. Oh, Spring Boot To Do is another one, right? So there's a whole set of items that are in there. But I would say start with the examples first, honestly. The ones that Sean was talking about, that's a really good place to start.
Quick answer to the question. Necessary to develop a mobile-based app. Could it be a cloud web-based application? Yes. Not necessary to be mobile. Could be anything you want. Just make sure you use Astra. Like, I know we keep beating that dead horse, but that's literally the only requirement. Everything else, completely open innovation. How do you get in touch with DataStax engineers, i.e. the people who are building the platform? So we've mentioned Discord a couple of times. That is the best place to get in touch with our developer advocates. But if you actually want to get in touch with our engineers, they don't really have a way to directly connect to them. The best way is to go through the DataStax community. So community.datastax.com and ask your question there. And that's where basically our engineers, our developers, our advocates, just everybody who has anything to do with DataStax, they kind of all lurk there, and everybody will be able to help you out. So community.datastax.com is the best location.
Yeah, definitely try to use the tags. When you go to community, you'll find, like, let's say that you're doing something with a graph database, or let's say you're doing something specifically with like schema in Cassandra or whatever. You'll find that there are tags there. Tag what you're posting. The reason why is because there are various engineers from the various teams that are watching some of those specific tags, right? So if you kick off something that is relevant to what you're looking for, then they'll probably get it real quickly. But on top of that too, community, it's not just DataStax folks. It is folks from outside of the community as well, or as part of the Cassandra community. It's kind of like Stack Overflow for Cassandra, if you will. So definitely the place to go is community.
Yes. Cool. Can you help explain how DataStax Astra connects to the front end like a React type app?
Yeah, totally. I'll grab this one. I think Cedric will have something to say about it as well. The document API is perfect for this, right? Or the REST API or GraphQL, right? In all those cases, you don't really, from a front-end dev standpoint, where you aren't usually working with the back-end APIs to interact with your database, right? You may not be working with the database drivers or whatever. But in those cases, you could absolutely use something like React and such with the document API and REST API or any of those, really, because you don't need the driver. You can just hook right into the APIs. And again, if you're in Astra itself, that's what I was showing before. When you go to this Connect tab for your database, you'll have these here. Now, something I want to plug is in a couple weeks, we're actually doing one of our workshops on the repo, the DataStax repo, which, this DataStax one. This is a React Redux app that was built specifically to use the document API in Astra, and it really explores. It goes one further. It's a Jamstack app that you can deploy with Netlify and has full unit testing and everything like that, and a CI/CD pipeline built into GitHub Actions. It's really cool, actually. So to answer the question, I would suggest for you, if you're doing front end work, to use GraphQL, REST, or Document API. That is going to be a direct line right into the database. Probably the easiest one for you is the Document API. Just start there and go, right? But yeah, take a look at DataStax and go, if you're interested, take a look at the workshop we're going to do in a couple of weeks. We're going to do that very thing.
All right. So let me answer two things really quickly so we can knock those off since we're running out of time. Rohan, that's fine. Society impactful is just fine. We appreciate that. It is not going to affect you in any way, shape, or form to be negatively evaluated. And you don't have to switch if you already have all your stuff that you're working on. Really don't have to do any of that. So done. Luigi, would you recommend Astra for low latency application? Absolutely.
Yeah. It's
Absolutely.
Cassandra. It's
Yeah.
Cassandra. We're again talking single digit milli, tens of millis, response times and reads and stuff, and the same thing you'd come to expect from Cassandra. Totally.
Yeah. And then Sarab, quickly, even if you're using localhost to connect, that's okay, because we're not asking you to show us a live deployment. We're asking you to show us what did you build, how does it work, and how does it use Astra, right? So if you, regardless of where you connect from, it's perfectly fine as long as you can showcase how you leveraged Astra in your submission. Okay.
One that I just want to answer real quick here, this where to copy the Secure Connect bundle for Java project. So when you are in Astra, and again, go to the Connect tab, you'll find everything you need to connect to the database will be in that Connect tab. If I go to, I'm using Java, boom, here's your bundle, right? So that's it right there. You can just go ahead and pull that down and include that as part of your Java project. And you follow the instructions. It's really simple to use. The driver is already aware of the Secure Connect bundle. You just point it to it, pass in your username and password, and you're good to go with a secure connection. And that means you do not have to implement SSL and stuff on your own in Java, which is terrible to have to do on your own. We do it for you.
Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have surpassed our time for today. We'd like to thank you for being here today, and we'd also like to just reiterate that we are not going to leave you alone. Just because our time is up for this Q&A does not mean that you guys can't keep asking us stuff.
Yep.
Please join our Discord if you want to be in direct connection to us. Look at community.datastax.com if you want to ask us questions that are not pressing for time. And you can continue using the discussion section of the Astra Hackathon for any and all questions, and we will respond as soon as possible. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, David. Thank you, Cedric, for your time. We really appreciate it. Thank you for everybody who was in the chat helping us out there. And Alex, our savior with the sound. Thank you especially for
thank you, Alex.
helping us resolve this issue. Jack, could you please share the Discord link once more with our group in the chat? There we go. And we're going to say thank you, good evening, good afternoon, and good night, and we'll speak to you all soon.
Excellent.
Thanks,
See
everybody.
You. Thanks, Sean. Bye.
See you, bye.
And as always, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell to get notifications for all of our future upcoming workshops.
Imagine a being gifted with powers from the goddess of Cassandra, who grew those powers until she could multiply at will, move with limitless speed, and unmask hidden knowledge. With those powers, she was able to fully understand the connectedness of the world. What she saw was a world in need of understanding. From that day forward, she sought to bestow her powers on all who came into contact with her, empowering them to achieve wondrous feats.